Now, gender-based violence remains one of the most notable human rights violations within all societies and needs to be tackled with the seriousness and the focus it deserves. Training and awareness remain a key tool in this endeavor. It is through training that you create disciples of good. That is when the cause is noble force, because you can train people to do wrong things. But we are here for a good cause. Now, both men and women experience gender-based violence, but it affects mostly women and girls, mostly. And this is backed up by statistics. It's not from my own head. So I was scanning through some statistics, and I read that in the European Union, for instance, European Union, since the age of 15, 1 in 3 women has experienced physical and or sexual violence. 1 in 20 women has been raped. I want you to listen attentively. 1 in 2 women has experienced sexual harassment. 1 in 2. Just imagine, if you have a population of 20 million women, that means 10 million women have experienced that. That means a half. 1 in 5 women has experienced stalking. Do you know stalking? Nyemelea. Now, recently, the stalking has increased. There is even cyber stalking. They follow you on the phone. There are many applications that help you to do this illegal activity. And 95% of victims trafficked for sexual exploitation in the EU are women. 95%. Now, Uganda. The Uganda Demographic Health Survey 2016 also alludes to this fact that women are more than twice as likely to have experienced sexual violence at some point in their lives as men. A 2007 report by the Ministry of Health, that is here, identified the most prevalent types of violence at the time as A, wife battering. 30% upiga wa bibi. This is a cultural thing sometimes. I was told that in the old times, if you don't beat a wife, then they think you don't love her. So you can see how culture also promotes sexual violence. Defilement, 25%. That is in Uganda. 2007. Rape, 20%. Now there is also something called marital rape, 13%. And sexual exploitation, 12%. Now when I was listening to the director CID, reading some of the statistics, I realized that we take statistics for numbers and we forget that we are actually dealing. These are people. These are our children. These are our sisters. These are our wives. These are our brothers. I don't want to only be on one side of ladies. But you hear, she talked about January 2020 to June 2020, and she said 0 to 8 years. I was just imagining this age group. 0 to 8 years in the whole country, 620 in 6 months. These are very young people. 0 to 8 years. Then as the age group increases, you see the numbers increasing. And that tells you the story behind. You see 1,446, 9 to 14 years age group. 6,822, I could have erred in some numbers, but I was speaking what she said. 14, 17 years. Now here, the causes can be easily ascertained. Drugs, alcohol, culture, the film industry, the internet. These are things that teach our people wrong methods. So we need to look at the interventions We need to look at the statistics, then we go behind and see how to tackle the interventions. Of course, the other issue is unconcluded cases. If you do it and you're punished, then it is a deterrence. And that's why we should support these other investigative measures that enhance our capabilities in fighting, including training and people getting aware. Uganda has enacted sufficient laws to deal with sexual offenses like rape, defilement, assault, grievous bodily harm, murders, etc. These are in our Penal Code, Domestic Violence Act, and Trafficking in Persons Act. So we have the laws. But certain challenges remain in the implementation on account of a number of factors. One of the factors is the adversarial system which Uganda inherited from the common law of England. It is inherently problematic in terms of SGBV cases. It creates a very antagonistic environment where parties who have to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt fail to appreciate the fragile nature of SGBV victims or survivors. This factor has a huge bearing on the success of such cases. It is made worse by cultural aspects that affect the response to some questions. Because you know this thing of cross-examination. They want you to describe everything the way it happened. And in our culture, some of these things are really very private. So it's made worse by cultural aspects that affect the response to some questions, and the courts do not usually take this into consideration. The second factor that I was able to pick is that there is no witness protection law. The lack of the law has an adverse impact on some victims of very serious SGBV cases who will fear to appear in court or even to aid police investigations because they fear stigmatization or even for their lives. Because when you're sexually assaulted, instead of you becoming the victim, you find everybody talking about you. So people tend to stay away, to shy away. So what is the solution? If the environment was friendly, for example, by keeping them in separate rooms or by not requiring the victims to appear in court in person, it would improve the quality of evidence. Technology through video links can bridge this gap. Or you can be creative. Uganda Police is strengthening the forensic capabilities in dealing with investigations of SGBV-related offenses to improve the quality of evidence. I use this opportunity to thank UNFPA for supporting our forensic capabilities with biosafety fridges, sexual assault kits, and other field tools. We really thank you, Dr. MUZEEI. I also thank the jailers, because jailers is our umbrella organization, and if you had kept a deaf ear at the cries of the other girl that you talked about, probably wouldn't have prioritized this. So through Ladira, we thank you, jailers, for considering this. The legal minds should address the question of victim protection, and this, combined with the forensic efforts, will definitely improve rates of conviction. We have also embarked on awareness, stroke sensitization for both police and communities. The target is to have improved reporting and also reduce stigmatization. I've also been informed that this seminar is intended to improve awareness amongst police officers and their families regarding sexual reproductive health. As Jalos said here, charity begins at home. The biggest tool, according to me, which transforms societies is education. This is a practical aspect. When you educate a people, you deal with most of these things of reproductive health. If I sampled here, because people talk about family planning, etc., fine, but if I sampled here, first of all, by the time you finish school, you're above 18. So many issues have been sorted down there. By the time you finish school, we don't expect you to get married when you're underage. You're likely to get a partner of your choice. You're likely to discuss these issues more openly because you are now mature. So that's why I said education holds the key. Fortunately, every child in Uganda has a right to education as enshrined in our constitution. That is Article 34. Once you have an educated girl or boy, the other aspects of reproductive health will fall into play automatically. I also wanted to say that the religious messages in reproductive health should not be ignored, and they should be encouraged in our families. The positive ones. These include faithfulness and no sex before marriage, etc. A healthy force, as a result of these practices, has definitely better output, keep safe and serve your country better and more efficiently. With these rather few remarks, it is our hope that the end of this program, which I am told is to cover 14 districts, will go a long way to improve awareness of the nature and manifestation of gender-based violence, reduced social tolerance for GBV, improved attitudes as you handle such cases, and improved coordination, since no one institution can adequately manage gender-based violence. It requires a multi-sectoral approach. We already have the umbrella of the jailers, which brings many institutions together: police, prisons, justice. That is why it's called the justice, law and order sector. We need more of such trainings and giving priority to such crimes which are clearly so prevalent in our country. I wish to thank the Director CID again and your team, especially Nalo, for any training program. I remember the words of Abraham Lincoln when he said that, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll use 4 to sharpen the axe. So the time you are dedicating for this effort is not a waste. So, and in police, we may give you a new title as crime preventers. So you qualify yourself to be crime preventers. Once more, I thank Dr. Mwebesa and you too. When I was chatting with them privately, these are very educated people. Actually, all of them, I think, have 3 degrees. But they have decided 3 degrees and others. But they have decided to commit their life to fighting this negative activity in our communities, to fight SGBV. So we thank you very much for committing your lives for a good cause. And with those few remarks, I declare this training on behalf of the Inspector General of Police open.